Man, this wind is crazy. Sounds like a freight train coming through the valley.
Hey, what's happening, everybody? It's your old pal Mr. Butter coming back at you again. This video should be going live on the last day of February. The weekend's almost here. I would like to recap some of the biggest drops from this month. Also look forward to what I'd like to pick up in March, because it seems like this heat is just going to keep on coming for the near future. I also want to get into what could be considered my biggest W of this year so far. If you're into kicks and you feel like hanging out, then hit that subscribe button. Let's take a look at these Galaxy Foamposite ones, talk about this past month's releases, and look forward to next month's releases as well. Alright, what is happening, everybody? I hope you all are doing well. I hope you had a wonderful week. This video should be going up on Friday, so hopefully y'all are fresh off of some good Union W's and that sort of thing. At the time that I'm shooting this, we just found out that the Union release on their own website is actually going to be a raffle. I'm kind of bummed about that, if I'm being honest, simply because I've had good history with getting W's on their site. I know those drops can get messy, and I know it's frustrating, but I feel like I have a better W history on the Union website drops, where it's kind of first come first serve, as opposed to my W history on sites like Travis Scott whenever they do the raffle and you sign up with an email address and you wait to see if they send you an invoice. I'm hoping I can come away with that Union W, but I'm not counting on it, a lot like I wasn't counting on the 85 breads or that sort of thing. I actually wasn't counting on this pair. I didn't assume I'd be able to touch these. I recently picked up my very first pair of Foamposites, and I'll show you those here in a minute, but picking that pair up really got me looking forward to this release. February was really just absolutely stacked with a lot of heat. And one of the other pairs that I was really hoping to get that I struck out on was the Kobe All-Star Protro 6. I guess they were calling it the All-Star V2 because he had an All-Star colorway of the Protro 6 years ago. It was like red and black. But anyhow, I really liked how the overlays on this year's All-Star pair looked, because they were shaped like a star instead of just the standard like snake scales or whatever. And I also like the colorway, just being a real nice cream and black. I thought those Kobe's looked really, really good. And I'm actually watching prices of them. Right now, they're sitting right around $300 in my size. And I'm considering selling a pair or two and maybe scooping up those Kobe 6s. Obviously, like most people that I know, I did take an L on the Bread 85s. I was watching prices of those for a minute, but I'm afraid that I may have missed that train. I may end up trading this pair for the 85 Breads if I can. Right now, prices of these have kind of dipped. I think people that got these simply to flip them are offloading them as quick as they can, so they're kind of undercutting each other's prices. But there will come a time when everybody that wanted just the quick flip will be done getting rid of their pairs, and at that point I think these are probably going to go up pretty significantly in value. I was able to grab the black metallic 5s, and I really like that pair. The black toe Jordan 1s, of course, that was an easy W. I think you can still get those for under retail if you're interested in them. Another pair that I got a W on is the Joe Freshgoods Aged Well 992s. The 992 could be my favorite New Balance silhouette. I just love the shape of them. I love the style. I love the way that they feel on feet. And I was really pumped to hit that Joe Freshgoods pair. The thing is, that was over a week ago that I got my W confirmed, and I still haven't received any shipping notifications. So I don't know when I can expect them. I think they're going to drop on the New Balance site here soon, or actually I think they were dropping on New Balance the day that this video will go up, on the 28th. But regardless of that, I do have a feeling that people who hit on the New Balance website will probably get their pairs before I get mine from Joe Fresh Goods, but it's all good. There's so much dropping, I'm not in any major rush. We'll go ahead and get into what you're here to see, and then after that, we'll look forward to next month's pickups as well. As you can see, I've got a black Nike box. The Nike branding is kind of in like a glossy finish, and you can see this galaxy type print in that Nike branding, and you all know what this is already. I'm sure you've seen the thumbnail, but of course this matches the shoes. The tag for this one reads Air Foamposite 1 Quick Strike. The colors are obsidian, anthracite, and black. So I'm sure I'm going to make some people mad with this next section, but just hear me out, and if I upset you, I apologize, but it is what it is. So I first went for these in my buddy size. Like I said, I recently picked up my first pair of Foamposites. I've got those right here. This is part of the Shooting Stars pack, and I love this pair. I've been wearing these since I got them. I really understand what the hype comes from whenever it comes to Foamposites. They're comfortable, I love the way that they look, and they're just different than everything else. So I really like this pair. So I grabbed that pair that I just showed you off of one of my good buddies, who's probably the biggest Foamposite fan that I know. And I told him, because he hooked me up with those at a really good price, I told him that I would try to grab these Galaxies for him. He actually had the OG pair. I guess it was back in 2012. I was into sneakers back then, but I don't know that I had the funds to really go after them at that time. I first entered for a size 11. He can wear 11 or 11 and a half. So I first entered on my couple accounts for an 11. I also had my brother, my cousin, and my wife all going for them as well. Well, on my two accounts that I had my two phones handy for, I took L's immediately. I went back in for an 11 and a half, took an L immediately. Tried for a 10 or a 10 and a half next, took an L. Went for the next size up, which at that point I think was a 12. I think 12 and a half was gone, but I went for a 12. That came back as an L immediately. Then the next size up was a size 13. Well, on my two accounts, I entered for a size 13, and on one of my phones, I got an immediate W. It was probably the 4th or 5th size that I had entered for on that release. So they actually did this one as a Leo drop, which is let everyone order. And it was wild because I saw where people were saying that stock was going to have the highest numbers in size 13. Usually the sizes that I go for are 10 or 10 and a half, and they typically have the most stock because I think it's the most common size. Well, for some reason, they had an abundance of size 13 when it came to these Galaxy Foamposites. And it said that they had over 5,000 pairs loaded up to sneakers. At first, I was really doubtful of that, but based on my experience and what happened, it seems like that could have been legit. I did not intend to get a size 13, but I think a lot of times maybe you can relate when you're going for a really hyped up shoe, a shoe that has a lot of anticipation, and it also has some value, and you take that L in the size that you're trying to get, but you have an opportunity to go for another size. A lot of times you'll just enter in, and it's almost like automatic. You're just in that mode like, I gotta get this W. And that's kind of what happened. In this instance, I just happened to get a W on a size 13. If I can make a swap of these for the Bread 85s in my own personal size, that's what I'll do. And a lot of times if I get a valuable pair of kicks that I can't wear, that aren't in my size, then that's solely what I intend on doing with them. Just maybe holding them, letting the value climb a little bit, and then swapping them out for something that I know I would wear more. All I can say is I try for just about everything. So there's a lot of shoes that I take a loss on simply so that I can make this content and put it up here for y'all. Some shoes I get lucky and I hit on, and they've got a little bit of value to them. That's what happened here. It is what it is. All right, but enough of my yapping and enough talking about that box. Here they are, the Galaxy Foamposite ones. These things are
absolutely crazy.
I'll show you this one real quick and then I'll set it aside so it's not getting in the way the whole time, but it does have that big red tag, says remove before flight. This is just an absolutely iconic and unmistakable shoe. Whenever you see this, you know what it is, and really there is nothing else like it. Really, that could be said for the whole Foamposite one silhouette though. Whenever you see them, they just grab your attention, and it's just such a noticeable kind of futuristic looking silhouette. I don't know if it's the shape of it, I don't know exactly what it is, but these things just look like they came from outer space, even the ones that don't have this galaxy print all over it. I think a lot of people do consider this to be the best Foamposite of all time. Personally, I think that argument is well deserved. It is just a really crazy looking pair of kicks, and I'm pumped that I was able to get my hands on this pair. As I mentioned, I recently just picked up my first pair of Foamposites, and I heard a lot of people saying that there were a good many differences between this release and pairs from like a decade ago. Well, this pair was from 2014, and I don't really notice that many inconsistencies with the upper and the shape, the lines on it and everything. I think it pretty much seems spot on. So again, I'm not the biggest Foamposite fan. I haven't been collecting these for a long time or anything, but as far as they look, I feel like they look exactly like these ones from a decade ago did. Obviously, this isn't the Galaxy, but I'm just referring to the shape and that sort of thing. These do feel really, really slippery right out of the box. Like, whenever I made the short of these and I was holding both shoes together, I don't know how many times I dropped them just because it's very, very slick. And this pair doesn't feel as slick, but I think it might just be because these are over a decade old. Looking at the outsole, we do have herringbone traction just in a black color. We have that 1 cent emblem there towards the heel, but then surrounding that on the perimeter, it's all this glow in the dark. In the daylight, it just looks like it's a standard kind of like icy green color, but maybe I'll try to get some B-roll and show y'all how well that glows. It's a really cool effect, and you can actually see it in between that herringbone as well. And that's just another element of these that really give them this out of this world feeling. At the midfoot, like we see on so many basketball silhouettes, we do have that carbon fiber. You can also see that wrap up to the side, which I like. As we come up to the upper, that's where we get this really, really crazy looking galaxy pattern. I love the colors on here. I love how crazy looking the shape of this upper is. I just really like everything about this shoe. It really was a grail for so many people, and I'm really surprised that we saw these again. It's a lot like the Wu-Tang Dunks were from the end of last year. It's just a shoe that you don't really know if you'll ever see, especially for the Wu-Tangs. I never thought that those would have a really wide release to the public, but I really didn't think that we'd ever see the Galaxy Foamposites again. And again, like I said, I'm just glad that I was lucky enough to get a pair. I didn't get some of the pairs that I wanted in February, but this is definitely a big W. As we come around the eye stays, that is just like a synthetic suede or a Durabuck material. It's all in a really nice dark black color, but then we do have this nice little embroidered swoosh there down towards the base of the laces. Then as we come up around the collar, we've got a different texture of material, but it's still in a black color, and again, you can see that 1 cent emblem. The tongue on this pair is a black mesh, and it's really got a lot of good stretch to it. It's almost like these shoes remind me of like a Huarache or Jordan 6 or something, where it's almost got that booty kind of inside the outer shell of the shoe. I really like the fit that that provides. Down the center of the tongue, we've got some gray stitching, and it kind of matches that swoosh down towards the base of the eye stays. And then up at the top of the tongue, again, we see that 1 cent emblem. And we've also got a canvas loop here on the tongue, as well as on the back of that inner sock. And I'd imagine, along with just the aesthetic of it, it's probably just to help you put the shoe on. These came with black oval style rope laces in them, kind of similar to like SB laces or that sort of thing. Didn't come with any extras, but I can't imagine putting something different in there anyway. And then our sock liner is black, and down on the insole we've got some Nike branding in red. That was a pretty quick look at this pair. I do think the value is going to go up on these, so I'm going to hang on to this pair, kind of use them as trade bait to get a pair that I really want, that I strike out on. Might be able to convert these into those bread 85s, but we'll just have to wait and see, because right now I think they're selling for around 600 in the size that I want. I did take my fair share of L's this past month, but fortunately we've got plenty more heat dropping in March. I guess the day after this video airs is the day that the Flu Game Jordan 12s release. My store is getting them in, but they didn't have their pairs prior to the in-store EA going out, so I don't have a pair reserved at my store, but I am going to call them probably right after I get done making this video, just to see what all sizes they have and kind of get a feel for how early I need to get there. I wouldn't be surprised if that pair performs similarly to the black metallic Jordan 5s. I didn't expect those 5s to disappear as quick as what they did, and I didn't even realize that they disappeared as quick as what they did until the next day. But I really want to secure my size at my store of those Flu Game 12s. Let me know if you'll be going for them. Let me know what you're looking forward to in March. We do have a lot of pairs dropping. So the first pair that's dropping in March that I really want is the Flu Games. That's on the 1st. Then it looks like we've got a little break between releases, but then we've also got the Nigel Sylvesters dropping on March 14th. I don't assume that I'll be able to get that pair, but I know that a lot of people are going to be wanting them. I wouldn't mind grabbing them, but it's not like a necessity for me. I will be going after them. Then the 15th, we've got the cool gray Jordan 9s. It looks like on March 18th, we've got the SB Jordan 4s in the navy colorway. I'll be going after those. And those are some of the really hype ones. But then like on the 22nd, we're going to have the Obsidian Jordan 1 lows drop. People aren't even talking about those, and I think it's just because we have so much heat coming next month. So a lot of those really good looking colorways on great silhouettes, you're not even hearing about because everybody's so focused on everything else. But March is going to be absolutely stacked, just like February was. I hope you all are able to get W's on everything that you want, or at least some of it. I cannot believe how big 2025 has been already, and we're still in the first quarter of the year. I appreciate you all watching tremendously. I will catch y'all on the next one. I'm out.